All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new episode of the 1002 podcast. My name is Max, and today we have Bobby with us. Bobby from Thailand. Thank you so much, brother, for hopping on the episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're from You're from America originally. 18 years ago, you did the DTS. Then for 16 years already, you're in Thailand, serving not only in Thailand but also from Thailand in the nations.
Correct.
And your first time Christian and missionary in your family.
Yes.
Until today. So there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, maybe introduce yourself quick for the people that don't know you, which is probably everyone.
Yep. Yeah, my name is Bobby. I'm from America, 40 years old. Grew up just outside of the suburb, or just outside the city of Chicago in Illinois. Lived a pretty normal childhood, and somehow found my way to northern Thailand, where I've been for the past 16 years. Married to a beautiful woman from Chiang Rai. My wife's name is Buya.
Yeah.
And we have 3 kids. My son is 12. His name is Ezra. My
Nice.
middle daughter, 9. Her name is Elsie. And my youngest daughter, who is 5, her name is Selah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So really rooted down in Thailand with
Yes.
family and ministries and everything.
Yeah.
How was the beginnings? Take us a bit into like the story in the beginning. Like you grew up from a non-Christian household.
Yeah.
How did you find Jesus?
Yeah, so the very end of 2006, I was kind of coming out of this season of figuring out what I wanted to do. So I graduated high school in 2003, and then school academics really was not my thing. Was not a very good student in high school. It was mostly me just not applying myself at all. I did the minimum.
Yeah.
I did go to community college for a year, and then basically they were like, don't come back after my first year, because I was trying to do the same thing, and they're just like, yep, no, just don't come back next year. So I was just working kind of at the mall, and then I actually had the opportunity. So I grew up kind of just, I love music. I love everything about music. I grew up listening to a lot of punk, rock, pop punk, and really into the music scene. And so after that, I actually had the opportunity to go on tour with some bands, and I worked for bands and a record label from Chicago, kind of just touring around. So I did that for a number of years. And then I was kind of feeling like, is this what I want to continue doing? So at the very end of 2006, I came back home to Illinois, and I got just a job at a mall again. And I was just kind of at this crossroads. I was kind of in a bit of a depression from a pretty serious relationship I was in.
Okay.
Me kind of feeling like, ugh, this girl broke my heart, my little emo heart. And but then also do I want to try and maybe go to school again and apply myself this time? Do I want to just, I don't really know what I want to do. And, looking back on it today, I see how God was really working when it didn't really seem like he was. When we consider, today when I think about it, I think about that first verse in the book of Ruth. The first verse in the book of Ruth says, in the days of the judges. And if you go back just one page, you really see what it was like in the times of the judges. They were doing what was right in their own eyes, and the world was just very chaotic.
Yeah.
But in the time of the judges, as we see through the book of Ruth, God was really beginning to redeem Israel. And it's just a really beautiful picture, I think, of what God was also doing in my life too. And God was kind of planting seeds without me even knowing it, because, I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't really have any Christian friends. I pretty much only knew one Christian. And so one day, very end of 2006, like around Christmas time, this person I knew, she basically shared the gospel with me. And something about it just felt really good, right? Like, maybe this is something considering worth looking into.
Yeah.
And so but she did not live in Illinois though. And so
where did you met her? Just
met
like
her
randomly
basically
somewhere,
on
or?
tour when we were
on
touring
tour,
with
so on the
bands.
music tour, okay.
And it was honestly, it was basically just chatting online.
Oh, okay, so not even really in person.
Correct.
So she shared the gospel with you online.
Correct.
That's pretty cool. Just like by texting, like, "Hey, Jesus loves you," or how did it look like?
Yeah, it was just kind of laying out the gospel message in a simple way. Like me being like, "Oh, I'm depressed. I'm this little emo boy," and
Okay,
just
and
like,
"Oh, look at me.
this
you know,
season is hard," or whatever. And then her basically just saying, there's some sort of comfort in Jesus. And going through that. So then I asked some more local friends if they knew of any churches around, because I was honestly quite clueless about church. To me, church was like Catholic churches, like a church and steeple, like stained glass windows, that type of thing. And I didn't know church could just be in like a normal looking building.
Yeah.
So I asked some friends, like local friends, I'm like, who weren't believers, but like, do you know of any churches around? Because I really didn't know any. And like looking things up on Google really wasn't a huge thing at that time.
Yeah.
And so a few of them mentioned this kind of more mega church that was in our general area. It's about 25 minutes away from where I lived.
Yeah.
And so several of them mentioned that. So I was just like, okay, I'll just go check that one out.
Were you a Christian already at that moment? Did you
I
give
was
your life
like
already to
seeking.
Okay, so because you heard and you were like, interesting, I want to know more.
Correct.
Where can I find more?
Yeah, pretty much. Because this friend, she kind of encouraged me to like go find community if you're like interested.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, okay. And I was kind of at this turning point in my life, like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. It just felt good. It felt good.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really know how else to describe it.
I
So
guess
then
it's the beauty of the gospel,
yeah. So then I went to this church one day. It was the first Sunday in 2007. And so it was a mega church, very, very large mega church in our area. And for one reason or another, I had driven past it a few times, but I just never really paid attention.
Yeah.
And when I went, was driving in, I'm like, this is like a mall. Like, it's huge. It's like massive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, very confused. Like, this is a church? Because again, I was like, no, a church is like this small white building with a steeple and stained glass windows. And but I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go in. There's like an escalator and like all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm definitely in a mall here. But then I see just like a guest central type of like, if you're new, come here. So I just like make a beeline straight to that room basically. And the first person I met was this guy named John, who was just coincidentally the leader of the young adult ministry. And and then from there, he just kind of was just like very interested in my story. And and then I do remember that day, and then I got his contact information. He's like, yeah, text me later this week. We can try and hang out. But then I went to the church service. Yeah, and it just really touched me in a way that I never really experienced. And then
the whole thing, or like something specific, the preaching?
It was my
worship?
first time being like in like a worship service,
Okay,
like
yeah.
all of it. Like
Yeah.
it was brand new. This is like basically time number 1
Okay.
I've ever experienced anything like this in my life.
Yeah.
Did
Did you had any encounters before already with Jesus, or like people like sharing the gospel, mentioning the gospel, or was it also with the girl and then going to church like the first time in your life, like hearing about?
Yeah,
this
so
man?
growing up, there would maybe be an occasional like we're going to like that was like a Catholic like a Catholic mass kind
Okay,
of
yeah.
like on Easter or Christmas,
Yeah.
pretty much exclusively.
Okay.
A few, and it wasn't even like every year or that type of thing.
Okay.
With my dad and my step family at the time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was so, but this was really the first time it was like, I was for sure understanding what was going on, but it was also like the first time I was experiencing Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah, experiencing Christians.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just really special. And then I remember I walked away from that service just feeling inspired and feeling something different within me. I went to a bookstore. I bought a Bible that day, and just started reading it. And then that week, one day I just kind of got on my knees in my bedroom and I asked Jesus to enter into my heart. And from there, that guy John that I mentioned, he just kind of took me under his wing, and he was just devoted to me and committed to me and seeing me grow in my walk with the Lord. And so we would meet weekly, going through the book of John together, because that's really my first time ever reading scripture. And he's asking, I'm asking all these questions. I'm like, what is a Lamb of God? Like, I don't know what that means. These types of things. And so he would just, be there for me. And then, from there, I just kind of went all in.
Yeah. Wow. What changed in your heart, looking back, that made you believe in it? Like, was it just the idea of like there's hope, or was it something specific? And what then made you go all in? Was there just this love and this understanding of like how much he loves you, or what made you go actually all in for Jesus?
I think it was recognizing how selfish I was, especially in my later teen years.
Yeah.
So I was about 22-ish, I was 22 when I got saved. So just realizing kind of how selfish I was, and how this life really isn't about me anymore, but it's really about loving others.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you saw that this is how that this is what Jesus did? Or?
Yeah, and then I saw it in examples like my buddy John, who just loved me without really knowing me.
Yeah.
But like the people that I was finding myself now increasingly getting surrounded with, they were living it out.
Yeah.
It wasn't just words they were reading. They were living it out. Is what really kind of made me realize, like, it is possible to love people in this way.
Wow.
And not be selfish and do things for others, put others first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did your family reacted on that?
Yeah, at first it was different for them.
Were they against it, or were they?
I wouldn't say they were against it, but it was like kind of more of just like okay.
You do you. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like no, why are you doing this? I think my dad asked me one time, like right at the beginning, like, so does this mean you're going to heaven now?
What do you say?
I guess it does.
And then And then going forward, then you joined YOM 2 years later. So you took a new
Not
step.
even, not even.
Or not even. Oh, 9 months you said.
Yeah,
right?
about
9 months.
yeah, about 8 months or so.
Mm.
Yeah, so some people I was in like a small group with at the church, they two different people, like different lives, had just kind of finished a YWAM season. I think one of them stayed on a little bit longer after a DTS. I think one of them just did their DTS outreach. And then they were just talking about it, and then it just really sparked my interest. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know like why so much, but I do think it was more about that. Like I was kind of in that transitional season of my life. Like, yes, I was a believer now, but I still was trying to figure out like what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, do I want to keep working at the mall? Do I still want to go back to school? Like I was still in that season of my life too. But then like the YWAM thing kept coming up, and I feel like I met a few other people as well. And yeah, it just kept coming back to that.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it sounded good.
And it was good? Or?
It was good. Yeah, it was very good.
What was the moment when you started to get a heart for missions specifically and for the nations? Was it in your DTS, or did that came afterwards?
Yeah, it was. I think it was especially during my outreach. I did my outreach in Thailand and then another country in Asia.
Yeah.
And it was especially during, I remember, so we were in Thailand for a month, and then we were in another Asian country for just under a month. And I remember towards the end of our time in Thailand, we were up in a tribal village in northern Thailand. The next province over from where I live now, actually. But we were visiting this tribal people group, and I remember we went to like a church service there, just up in the mountains, really beautiful, bamboo huts, like dirt roads. First time I'm experiencing any of this type of thing, you know, and it was like just like this eye-opening experience for me, because it's quite rural up there. Like there's not a whole lot up there. And I just had this like revelation of just like how big God is and how he cares about every corner of the world, and how like he really cares about like this tribal people group on top of this mountain in the middle of nowhere in northern Thailand. Like he desires all people to come to know him. So it was kind of during that time when I was like, yes, like I want to help in this endeavor. And so it was really during my DTS outreach that I really was like, I think I want to be a long-term missionary
in Thailand. Or
I wouldn't say at the time. I really enjoyed my time in Thailand. I loved it so much. And I loved my time in the other nation as well. However, I think selfishly, I kind of wanted to be in Thailand, but I was like more of like a, here I am, send me type of like, I'll go wherever you want me to go, but kind of like, but it would be great if it was Thailand.
Yeah. Like if could, God, then Thailand would be pretty nice.
So yeah, that's how that was pretty much.
Yeah. And then was it a big sacrifice, or like what was the moment when you knew it's Thailand? Was it confirmation or?
Yeah, so came home from outreach, wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing. Again, like, okay, am I just going to continue on with YWAM like right now, basically, YWAM LA. So I did my DTS in Los Angeles, and at the time, YWAM LA had another school, like about 2 months after my DTS finished. So I was like, do I want to do that? But either way, like I'm going to go home first for at least that 2 months. So I just got a job, my previous job back. And then it was during that time when I was like, you know, God, if you want me to be in YWAM or like missions as a whole, like speak, like I'm listening. And then so I'm working one day. I worked at like a clothing store in the mall, and I dealt with like the like I received shipments. That was my job.
Yeah.
So I would often work in the back kind of by myself. And just one day I really feel like I heard through, I was listening to music and I really feel just kind of through a song lyric that basically said, go back to LA.
Oh, okay.
And I just start like weeping and I'm like, okay, like, because to me it wasn't like, go back to LA. It was like, this is going to be the beginning of the rest of your life. Like,
okay, so you knew
we're
that
in
heart.
it. We're in it for the long run now.
Okay, yeah.
So I remember, and so, you know, some logistics need to happen. And so those got figured out. And I remember about a week later when everything was like, okay, I'm going back. I went into my boss's office and I remember just being like, they're unbelievers. Boss, maybe one or two other managers are in there. And I'm about to just be like, I feel like, and I just said to them, I feel like God's calling me back to LA. I feel like God's calling me back to YWAM. And I remember one of them was just like, they're unbelievers. One of them was just like, why can't God call you here? And I'm just like, he could, but I know that would be being disobedient to what he's asked me to do. And so, yeah, so from there it was just kind of like, I did the secondary school and then I staffed the DTS. And then during that DTS, I actually led an outreach team with somebody back to Thailand. And it was during that trip, we did an outreach in Chiang Rai, where I live now actually. Yeah. And I remember one night I was just kind of prayer walking the area where we were. Everyone's sleeping. It's pretty late at night and I just can't really sleep. And I was just kind of prayer walking around at night one day. And I really feel like I heard a voice that said, here, like location here, not ears here.
Yeah, so audible voice or in your spirit?
Pretty audible.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. It was like, look behind me because I think someone's talking to me, audible.
Yeah.
And it's like, here. No one's around. And I start walking again. It's like, here again. And then, so from there, it was like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be here. So one thing led to another, and that's where I ended up. So after that outreach ended, I kind of, moved to Thailand. Went home, kind of tied up those loose ends, and then made my way to Chiang Rai, where I still am 16 years later.
Did you meet your wife during that second outreach already, or
so we actually did meet during that time. We actually have a photo together from that time.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of serving this local pastor and his church, and we actually do have a photo with each other from that time. We didn't like know each other at all. It was like, oh, we're just us as the outreach team, we're taking photos with locals.
Yeah, okay.
The locals are taking photos of these foreigners.
Yeah.
But we do actually have a photo together from that time that I found in my photo gallery on my computer, after we started dating.
Okay.
And it was like, whoa.
So cool.
And so, I met my wife. I would say I officially met my wife about a year or so after I moved to Chiang Rai.
Okay, so that was
going to the same church, and I'd see her, we'd see each other, but it was, and then we just kind of, as my Thai, I was able to start speaking more Thai. We just started conversating, and then,
nice.
Went from there.
And how was that for your family? How did your family then react when you said, okay, I'm like taking the next step, and it's not just I'm going somewhere else in America, but like I'm moving to Thailand because I feel that this is what God leads me to do, which is something that your family probably can't relate to.
Correct.
How was the reaction there?
It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It was kind of more like, okay, this is a season for Bobby. Like he'll come back eventually, I think. But at the end of the day, they knew I was doing what I'm passionate about and what I'm like enjoying doing. So I think they were happy that I'm happy in a way. I think at the end of the day, my parents, my family, they're still my family.
Yeah.
And they're still going to worry about me no matter what. No matter where I am. But now, just as the years have even gone by, it's been like, yeah, Bobby he's doing what he loves doing. So we're like what else can we ask for?
Yeah.
Like he's doing what he loves doing.
Oh, so they're actually quite supportive.
In a way, yeah.
For the way.
Yeah,
how
I
they
don't
can show
feel like
support, right?
I don't feel like my family are against what I'm doing at all. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That is better than even some Christian families.
Yeah.
Some Christian families wouldn't even be so happy that their kid is going on missions all around the world, But that's nice. That's cool. And then, since then, was there, or like, is it when you come back now and you see your family now, is it still like, is your family like asking like, hey, what's going on right now? How are things going? Or are they like, oh, Bobby's back and our life is moving on, or like?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so there is still this interest also from their side.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a blessing. That's
Like
really nice.
my dad has been to Thailand twice. My sister's
cool.
been.
Yeah.
So they've in some way have experienced it in a little bit, which
Yeah.
I honestly think helped a little bit. Seeing like the community that we're in and yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And then you started ministry in Thailand 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean now, like 16 years later, right? You run a coffee shop, you run a CrossFit ministry, and like Bible studies, and you travel and all of that. So now it's quite established, the ministries.
Yeah.
How were like the beginnings when you first started? Was it rough? Was it tough for you? Was it rough or tough for you?
Yeah, my first year was quite difficult. It wasn't hard because I was in Thailand. It was hard kind of starting my life over.
Okay.
Because that's what we do as when we move overseas. We're like completely starting our lives over.
Yeah.
We have to I knew one guy. I knew this Thai pastor,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else. I don't speak the local language. Thankfully, I enjoy Thai food, so that's okay. But I don't speak the language. I don't know anybody except one local guy. So I have basically zero community. I need to find a place to live. I have to find some sort of mode of transportation. Like, you're starting your life completely over. And on top of that, you have to do it in a completely different language. Because at least where we're at in Chiang Rai, like, it's definitely beneficial if you speak the local language. I would say maybe today it would be easier to get by if you only speak English. But when I moved there, I would say it was definitely a bit harder. Doable maybe, but like I was like, I'm gonna be here, I'm committed, I'm learning the language. So, and luckily I lived in a Thai village, and luckily I do see it as a blessing that I didn't really have any much Western foreigner foreigner community there, because it helped me with the local language.
So you had to learn it, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I was sharing a house with a Thai family who really did not speak like any English. But we figured it out, and like they helped me with everything, and you just saw God in all the details, and yeah, it was just a really it was a hard time,
Yeah.
but it was a very special time, and one that I'm very thankful for, because it really grew me in ways I can't even really put into words.
Yeah. So what did you do then in the beginning? Like, did
I
you
was
came
just-
with YWAM or?
Yeah, I was with YWAM, but I was basically serving this pastor, and he was just like, he was trying to build relationships with a lot of local schools. So at that time, I was primarily teaching English in just local schools, specifically.
Okay, that you got connected with through this pastor and this dude that you knew from that area.
Yeah, and then from there, just community started and these types of things. Yeah, started trying to go to, because I would go to Thai church with him, but then it's like, okay, I also do want to try and have some sort of community. So they had at that time, more of a English-speaking community church that would meet 2 or 3 times a month. It wouldn't meet every Sunday, but it would meet like maybe the first and third Sunday of every month, like in the evening.
Okay.
It was like strictly English speaking for the foreigner community, mostly all missionaries, just for them to gather. And that there's no more of that anymore, because now there are several churches that are bilingual and things like that. So there just really isn't a need for that anymore.
Yeah.
But at that time, I would say it was a huge need, especially for people like me who came as a younger single and just had zero community.
Yeah.
Yes. And even at that time, it was like me as a young 20-something. And then there was like this huge gap between me and like the OG missionaries who had already been there like 20 years and these huge established ministries. So there was, I'm not saying me specifically, but like around the time that I moved there, like my generation was kind of starting the new wave of missionary coming, at least to Chiang Rai, from my experience. Yeah, because there really wasn't many people my age, like at all, in the missionary community at that time. There was like a few of us, and then since then it's grown quite a bit. Yeah. But so that's kind of how that worked.
Yeah. And then, how did you develop the ministries until today? Like, when did you start then along that way? Oh no, actually, let me ask a different question. I cut that one out. Was there any time in the beginning, especially where you felt like, darn it, that was the wrong decision, or it's too hard, I'm too lonely, I can't really connect with people here, I want to quit, I want to go back home? Did you had any of those moments? Or?
I think those snuck in every once in a while, but at the end of the day, it was more like God saying, I'm not asking you to do that. Like, remember, like God asking me, like, remember your why, remember the call. Like, I called you here, I did not call you there. Yeah. And then, so it was me just kind of like knuckling down and being like, okay, yep.
Let's do that.
Let's go.
Let's stay committed.
Yeah.
And I mean, then like 1 or 2 years later, like you married anyways into the culture, so
correct.
You know, you were like pretty set on it, and you were like, okay, if I'm here, then like full on.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you started running ministries with your wife together, right?
Yeah, I mean, so me and my wife, originally, shortly after we got married, we had a ministry, a cafe ministry, that we ran for a number of years. We really wanted a place for people to come to host like DTS outreach teams, to do like English corners and like just show hospitality in some way. So we had like a coffee shop, small little restaurant, and then so we did that, and then through a number of circumstances we decided that season was kind of closing. God was kind of closing that door. And then we entered a season, kind of a wilderness season. Okay. Of like, should we stay here? Should we go maybe spend a season, an undisclosed amount of time season in America where I grew up. At that time, it was me, my wife, and our oldest son, Ezra. It was just us three. And so it was like, what should we do now? It wasn't like a God, where are you? It was like we don't really know what we're doing here at the moment.
Because ministries were not really showing fruit, or because just you felt like, hey, maybe we should go somewhere else?
A little bit of both, to be honest. We feel like God was opening doors, shutting doors, but not really the ones we were expecting.
Okay.
And then through that, it was affecting me, I think, more as a husband and a father, trying to be the leader of my family. Because I don't want my wife to feel like bad. I don't know another word to really say about it. Like, I don't want her to feel pressured, and I don't want her to feel like we're just kind of walking aimlessly. So I felt immense pressure, and it was a really hard season for me, especially. But then God was very faithful in bringing some new families to our city who had kind of new vision and needed people, desired people to kind of walk alongside them in that vision and see like this new ministry being planted. And that was kind of the gym that we still serve with today.
Oh, nice.
So we walked alongside this family who we love so much and we're so grateful for, who have since moved away from Chiang Rai. They now have planted a new YWAM base in the deep south of Thailand, in the province of Trang. And so they handed off the ministry to another family, actually. But me and my wife have, one way or another, have always been serving with this fitness ministry, Project Fit. Yeah. And so that's been about 10 years now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so that has evolved into what it is today too. So,
just for the wilderness time, you said you were under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
How do you dealt with that?
Yeah, at first not well. It really kind of secluding myself.
Okay.
Allowing the sadness to kind of consume me.
Yeah.
Not really wanting to talk to anybody about it. My wife, God, my friends, my YWAM leaders, whoever it was.
Because you felt you should have an answer as the man and the leader of the family and the one that carries the vision? Or? Yeah,
that, a sense of embarrassment, just kind of feeling like, I think also maybe just comparing myself to other missionaries or whatever have you. Like, why is their thing thriving and mine not?
Yeah, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Am I not obeying right and all of that?
Yeah. So, But I think at the end of the day, it was just like, Bobby, just stay faithful. I just kept hearing that. Bobby, just stay faithful. And like, it's through the wilderness season. Like, the wilderness seasons, what are they at their core? They're a time of preparation.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they are. Yeah. Are they hard? Yes. But they are always preparing you for the next season. Like, it's what it is in Scripture. And that's what it is in our life. I guarantee my family's going to go through another one at some time. Your family's going to go through one at some time.
Most likely.
Yeah, it's a guarantee. Suffering is guaranteed.
That's true, yeah.
And so, but yeah, I think God is just calling us to stay faithful in those seasons. So, and I thank God for His grace that we were able to do that.
What did you learn out of that season? What would you say was like one of the main learnings that maybe still helps you today when you think about it?
Just to remember the call and remember the why. Like, God never called us anywhere else. He never said, okay, yeah, maybe I do want you to go somewhere else. It was always here.
Yeah.
And so just, not allowing other people, I want to say this in a nice way, but not allowing others to really influence what God has already spoken to me, and me just standing firm on what I truly feel God has already spoken to my family.
And he did. He delivered you out, he brought you out, and now 10 years later, still running with the ministry that got kind of birthed out of that season and time,
and
right?
I mean, and since then that ministry has grown quite a bit, and it's been such a blessing to see, and then seeing how God has just opened new ministries through that ministry, which has kind of brought us, which has brought us to where me and my family are at like today, and what like our ministry, our specific ministry is today, because it's really just in the past maybe 4-ish years that we've really started to feel like, okay, God is really using us. He's really using our giftings, or I should say, He's allowing us to use our giftings to serve Him now. And I think God really wants us, also has a desire to use us in ways that we want to be used too. And what we are passionate about. But there are some times when maybe God is going to ask us to do things maybe we aren't so passionate about. But we need to be willing to do them as well. When we consider like the prophets.
They did some stuff they did not want to do.
Yeah, but and we look at a guy like Amos. In Amos chapter 7, Amos needs to defend his job as a prophet. And he's basically just like, listen, man, one day I was a farmer, God called me, and I had a word to speak, and nothing was getting in the way of that. I didn't come from a line of prophets. It's like he calls himself a herdsman and a dresser of sycamore figs or something like that. He's just like, that was my job, but God called me to do something else, and I need to be obedient to it. Was it necessarily what he wanted to do? Unsure. But what he did want to do was be obedient to his God. And so I think that calling is the same for us. Like, he might call us out of what we are doing, and we need to be obedient in it and faithful just in what he's called us to do. So, but thankfully, God has really been using our family and just kind of developing our giftings even more, and allowing us to use our giftings in Thailand and the general region too, where we have a huge heart to reach.
How do you see God, or how did you see God in the past? And maybe you have some stories how your ministries, especially your local ministries like coffee shop and gym and so on, brought peace and the gospel to the people.
So one thing that we do with the gym is on Wednesday evenings we have church at the gym, inside of the gym.
I love that.
We did that. One of the reasons why we decided to do that on Wednesdays was to meet the need of our Thai brothers and sisters who, they have jobs. Sunday is a Sunday in Thailand. It's not a day set apart for the Lord.
In Asia, it's a normal
right,
day.
it's a day. So many of them just have to work. But many of them are free after, maybe 6 p.m. on a weekday. And so we use it as a way to meet the need, but also, for some of our people that maybe they need that midweek connection. So we have our church, RX Church, on Wednesday nights. It's more than just like a house group. Like, we study scripture, someone preaches. We're currently going through the book of Hebrews together, and just really meeting people where they're already at.
And then do you have a story how through that setting, for example, someone encountered Christ or, any testimonies?
Yeah, in general, so me and my wife, our ministry is kind of three parts, and I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So we have the teaching. I teach a lot in our YWAM Bible schools and at the church and these types of things. We have the coffee shop, Sengop Slow Bar, which we want as a way to help build community out of the gym, because the coffee shop is right in front of the gym. We just want to use it as an extension of the gym to just keep the conversation going after workouts are done.
Yeah.
And it's a tent making ministry for us as well. And then we have the gym, a place where people are already at. And so luckily for us, I mean, it's an amazing community, and we're so grateful for our Project Fit family and community. But I think through the continued conversations at the gym, at the coffee shop, everyone is very intentional. We're very intentional of not just like, hey, you're here to work out, let's get a good sweat in. We start classes with, what are you thankful for? What are you stressed about? Can I serve you? How can I serve you practically this week?
Yeah.
We're asking very intentional questions, and Thai or foreigner that come, they know that. And they know that they are going to have to be a little vulnerable.
Yeah.
But through that, people are, it's a process. We hear in missions, it's about the relationship.
Yeah.
It is about we say that because we mean it.
Yeah.
I think God can just be like, boop, you are going to be saved. But I think God can do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's truly about the relationship. I think especially in Thai culture, a lot of Asian culture, the relationship is key, and we are committed to the relationship. So many of our friends and community there, like, we value that, and through just the continuance of the relationship, trust is being built. Yeah, and people are coming to know the Lord, and they're not in a forced way, but on their own terms. Yeah. Last year we saw a few baptisms, so we're just very thankful for everything that God has been doing through that ministry, and through other ministries in the region as well.
Which comes back to faithfulness, right?
Yes.
Staying faithful to it and just letting God move in His compassionate and loving way to reach the people.
Yeah.
You said like in between like that the coffee shop is kind of like your tent making ministry, and it's used, the income you make there, it's used to support the ministries and your family and so on.
Yeah.
What did you learn about fundraising and this whole topic about money and missions for yourself? Because I think there are different sides that people take and sides that people believe in. What some say, hey, you need to make your own money, you need to work, like you cannot just like say, oh, God provides for everything, I need to put my hands on it too.
Yeah.
Then we in YRM, 97% of the time we just depend on other people and on what God gives. So we mostly live on donations. What do you learn about that, and how do you found your way of supporting your family, supporting your ministry?
Yeah, it's been a journey, in one that I'm very thankful for, but it has its ups and downs. I think at the end of the day, I've been living off of support in one way or another for the past 18 years, and so obviously God has been very faithful. But I think in some way, if there is that need to fill a gap. At least for me in my household, we feel okay about trying to fill that gap on our own. We don't find it as like a burden. We don't feel like it's taking away from ministry. We feel like it is part of our ministry. Because serving through giving somebody a cup of coffee or a cookie or whatever, in a way, we're ministering to people. We're just, because it's all about relationship. It's all about just the continuance of building community through a cup of coffee or something like that. But yeah, we just, at the end of the day, we just really feel like that's what God has asked us to do. And so, yeah, we've seen God's faithfulness, but in like logistically speaking, you know, as our kids are getting older, our expenses are going up. And so sometimes we need to fill the gap sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah. For anyone who's listening right now and says, I have a heart for the nations, but doesn't know where to start, what would you tell these people?
That's a good question. I would say talk to people who are in missions. And I think let God do the rest. I think the testimony is powerful. I don't say this in like prideful way, but I say it in a way to show that it's possible. I will say that it has not always been the easiest, and I know there's going to be issues ahead of me. The storm is going to come again, but as someone who has been through storms, I can tell you confidently that God has met me in every single one of them. And he has met everyone in every storm that they have been through as well. And just stand confident in the call that God has given. He's just asking you to be obedient. Yeah, and yes, it's going to be hard. It is a sacrifice. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a sacrifice. We are saying bye to our families. We are saying bye to our friends. And life moves on back home. We go back, we visit, people are busy. They have kids now. They have schedules. They can't drop everything because you're in town for a day or two, unfortunately. And so like life moves on, but God remains forever. But being obedient to what God has asked us to do is truly our highest calling. And that's what he's requiring of us, to just be faithful to that call. So I would say just seek out those that have been there. But I will also say what worked for that person might not work for you too. You need to kind of sort it out, those details with God yourself.
Amen to that. How can people find you? How can people get to know more about your ministry? Do you have a website? Do you have Instagram, which we will put in the description?
Yeah, just website? Really Instagram, and we have a Facebook page for the coffee shop. We honestly we're not the best at social media for. I kind of go through seasons with it where I'm pushing it. And,
wilderness seasons.
So, and my wife is, I love you, Booyah, but my wife is not very technologically savvy. So like I have to remember every single password for every possible thing in our family. So I have a love-hate relationship with that type of thing. So I would say Instagram or personal Facebook or these types of things. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We put your Instagram and so on in the description so people can get to know a bit more if they're interested. And thanks for having you. Thanks for all the time. And guys, that was it. That was Bobby. And we see each other in the new episode next time. God bless you.